Hey guys, welcome to the Massive Iron Channel. I'm Steve Shaw. In this video, I'm going to let AI maximize your muscle mass during the coming year. Before I get into this topic, if you guys have any questions or comments, drop them down below. If you need coaching, that's what I do for a living. I would love to work with you. All right, so earlier in the year, I had AI build a workout, and it was pretty interesting. It wasn't too bad at all. In this video, I'm going to let three different forms of AI. We're going to have Grok from X, we're going to have Meta AI, and we're going to have Chat GPT. I asked each of these to build you guys a workout. Not just that, I asked it to help us maximize muscle mass during the coming year. I gave it some parameters. I said we want to maximize mass, and I'm going to analyze how each of these did. Just a fun little video. Let's dive in and see what happens. Now, the first here is ChatGPT, and I'm going to read the question that I asked each of these. I said, I have a lifter that wants to maximize muscle mass during the coming year. They can train 3 to 5 days a week, so I allowed a little bit of flexibility. So a little bit of interpretation from these AI systems to see what they would say. They lift at a commercial gym. They're in perfect health, have no dietary limitations. I want you to create a detailed workout plan and bulking strategy and provide 10 tips to maximize the coming year of training. So we're looking at maximum mass. We've established that. We have no limitations. Let's see how each of these stack up. All right, so this is ChatGPT, and we're looking at the workout first. It provided us with a 3, 4, and 5-day option. Now, the 3-day option, chest, shoulders, triceps. So it did the old push-pull lower, or push-pull legs, which is reasonable. The 4-day option did upper, lower, push-pull. So chest, shoulders, back, lower body, legs, and glutes, push, chest, shoulders, triceps, and pull back and biceps. That's pretty interesting. I did not expect that. And let's see, the 5-day, chest and triceps, back and biceps, shoulders and abs, legs and arms. Okay, so we did a body part split. That's interesting. I didn't expect that either. So that is ChatGPT. All right, now let's look at Meta AI and see what they came up with. It says, to maximize mass, we'll focus on a hypertrophy-based training program with a mix of compound exercises and isolation exercises. So we have a 5-day plan. We don't have 3 different options. We only have one option here. Day 1 is chest and triceps. Day 2 is back and biceps. Day 3, legs. Day 4, optional. Shoulders is optional. And day 5, arms and chest, which is optional. So we kind of have 2 chest days. It's an interesting approach. It took a different approach. It gave you 3 carved in stone training days and then 2 optional training days. I find it interesting that shoulders was listed as an optional workout. So we're going to get into all the different exercise selection and exercise choices here in a moment. But I wanted to set the table first with the training split options. Let's look at X's Grok next. Now, I will say when it comes to Grok, I find it to be a lot faster with image generation. That doesn't always mean the image quality is better. I have a ChatGPT subscription for work, for minor work tasks. But sometimes when I need an image, I find myself going over to Grok. So I'm very curious to see how Grok does as far as being competitive. Grok says, here's a comprehensive workout plan and bulking strategy for someone trying to maximize mass over the next year. Day 1, chest and triceps. Day 2, back and biceps. Day 3, rest. Day 4, legs and shoulders. So we combined legs and shoulders and didn't leave anything out. Day 5, rest. Day 6, light full body. That's very interesting. I like what we're doing here. And day 7, rest. So you can see we have 3 completely different strategies with these AI systems. I find that extremely interesting because I didn't expect that. I almost expected each of them to kind of put together the same type of cookie cutter plan. Now I'm going to look at exercise selection next. We'll keep Grok up and we'll kind of comb through the exercise selection real quick. And when we're done, we'll look through their 10 tips for maximizing the coming year of training. All right, so Grok, chest and triceps. We have bench 4 sets of 6 to 8. Incline dumbbell, so we went with a little bit of switcheroo on the dumbbell, which is reasonable. Inclines. Then we have cable flies and dips and a very minimal amount of triceps work in skull crushers. Now hopping over to Meta for chest and triceps, we have barbell bench. It says 3 to 4 sets, so it's giving you a little bit of wiggle room. Incline dumbbell, cable fly. We do have triceps dips in the mix here, but it doesn't list them as chest dips. It kind of pushes everything into triceps. We have basically an equal amount of work for the chest and the triceps, whereas with Grok, we had a lot of chest work and one triceps exercise. Right now, I'm kind of giving the advantage to Grok a little bit, but very deficient when it comes to triceps volume. In addition, with Meta, you have additional optional arm work at the end of the week, so you have more triceps work, extensions. They also have incline dumbbell press. I'm not sure what that means. Oh, this is chest. I forgot they included chest on their arm day. More cable crossovers, cable flies, some fluffy chest stuff. And that's really it. Bench dips. I almost missed bench dips. So kind of an interesting, I don't know, not exactly the way I would do things as far as programming, but certainly not trash. All right, and finally, ChatGPT. Okay, we got our options here. Let's look at exercises. For the push day, we have bench, and then I'm just looking at chest, specifically chest and triceps right now. We have incline dumbbell press, no real problem with this. Then we have cable tricep pushdowns and overhead dumbbell extensions. This is very classic. This is kind of the way I would structure a push day in the massive iron world. Exercise selection is reasonable. If you hop back over to their day 4, which has additional chest and triceps work, we have close grip bench, we have dips, Arnold press, dumbbell flies, and tricep kickbacks. It's all right. Not a lot of additional chest work here, some additional tricepticon work. It's okay. This is kind of a hard call when it comes to chest and triceps. I'm going to give a slight nod here to ChatGTP just because Meta had too much triceps work. Grok had too little. Both of them were a little bit unbalanced for my liking. All right, let's look at the rest of the workouts here. We're going to start with ChatGPT, and we're going to look at the pull workout. We have deadlifts, 4 sets. That's a little bit heavy, a little bit intense work. We're going to start off with 4 sets of 4 to 6 reps. We have pull-ups or lat pull-downs. That's kind of how we do things in the massive iron world. And we start off with 4 sets of those, barbell rows, and seated cable rows. So pretty intense work. This is kind of classic massive iron. So maybe ChatGPT is learning from the massive iron world. And then we have barbell curls and hammer curls, which is reasonable. We have a barbell curl variation and a hammer curl variation. You can also see it's kind of ramping up in reps depending on the exercise. Heavier work with the dumbbells, more moderate work with the pull-ups and barbells, and then a little bit higher range with the seated cable rows. I would nudge those, the seated cable rows, a little bit higher, as well as the barbell rows and lat pull downs. I'd probably take lat pull downs upwards of 12. Overall, not bad. A pretty decent day. Now, the second training day for ChatGPT for back has rack pulls, T-bars, chest supported rows, face pulls, and concentration curls. Not bad. I'd probably drop the concentration curls. I don't really care for face pulls. I think they're an overrated rear delt exercise. I'd kick them into the trash can. I don't think having a lot of rack pulls and deadlifts in the same workout week is a good call. I'd probably put dumbbell rows there. So this is kind of a wonky second pull day for me. Not my favorite pull day, but at least it was a solid initial pull day. So probably overall a B- on ChatGPT. Let's see what Meta has to say. All right, so Meta says, screw the deadlifts. We're going straight for pull-ups or lat pull-downs. The rep range is a little bit more what I would say hypertrophy friendly. I like that rep range. They jump in the barbell rows. I like that rep range. They jump into seated cable rows. I like that rep range. And then boom, we're hit with 9 sets of biceps. So again, with Meta, we have some reasonable back work, but we have an equal balance between major and minor body parts. Not a fan of that. I would probably alternate between the dumbbell curls one week and the hammer curls the next, and put in another back exercise. Overall, that's it for back work for Meta for the week. So for Meta, I'm probably going to give him a C-. It's okay, it's decent, but it's certainly missing a few things and a little bit unbalanced. All right, so let's see what the old Grok has. Grok leads off with deadlifts, 4 sets of 5 to 7. Again, it's pounding you with brutality, a little bit too much deadlift work for my liking. Pull-ups or lat pull-downs, not bad. The rep range is reasonable for lat pull-downs. I'd probably bump them to 12. Barbell rows and seated cable rows, and then you have barbell curls and hammer curls. So very, very reasonable, very much like ChatGPT. Now, Grok also throws in a light full body day. We have dumbbell bench, we have dumbbell rows, which I like. So overall, Grok is looking pretty good here. You have ChatGPT with 2 back days, and not bad at all. And then you have Grok, which has dumbbell rows thrown in on the second day. Overall, when you look at weekly volume and the weekly profile, I would probably consider them very equal. So for back work, I would say Grok and ChatGPT both win this category. All right, so finally, we're going to kind of look at legs and shoulders. We'll start there since Grok has them lumped together, and we'll go through the other AI systems. We have 4 sets of squats, 3 sets of leg presses. The leg press rep range is a little bit on the low end, but not bad. We have some brutal walking lunges. So that's really it when it comes to legs. On full body, we have goblet squats, which I can live or die with. Not a big fan. Overall, not bad for your legs. You do have some variety and a pretty decent weekly strategy. Though one big deficient area is I don't see any direct hamstring work. I was going to give this a B+, but without any direct hamstring work, I don't know. We kind of have a deficiency there. Now for the shoulder work, we have overhead presses, laterals, and rear delt flies. And then on the full body light, we have dumbbell shoulder press. So not bad, a pretty decent mix as far as shoulders. A pretty classic mix. We have barbell overheads, dumbbell overheads, a lateral raise, and a rear delt. So probably a B for Grok when it comes to shoulders. We could probably improve it a little bit. And legs, not bad, but because they don't have any hammies in the mix, we're probably going to have to dump that down to a C-. All right, so let's see what the old Zuckerberg has for you when it comes to legs. We have squatties, pretty high rep. I don't know, I'd probably tame that a little bit. That looks pretty brutal. Leg press, more reasonable rep range. Lunges, okay. Leg extensions, I like that they bumped the rep range up there a little bit. And we have some leg curls and calf work. So already the Zuckerbergs, Meta AI, is a little bit ahead of Grok. When it comes to shoulders, we have dumbbell shoulder press. We have lateral raises, we have rear delt flies, and a bunch of other ab crap. So I would say the Zuckerberg has the advantage when it comes to legs, but with shoulders, this is a pretty lower tier, definitely needs some fleshing out. I would give this a D+ when it comes to shoulders, and legs, probably an A-, right on track, pretty decent selection, not bad at all. All right, and finally, ChatGPT. Now, ChatGPT calls its lower day quads, hamstrings, glutes, and calves. So you can tell it's more well-rounded just naturally, at least on paper. So we have squats, 4 sets. That's pretty brutal. Romanians, we have a lot of posterior chain work in the ChatGPT. We have rack pulls, we have deadlifts, we have squats, we have RDLs. We jump over to leg press, walking lunges, and calf raises. Not bad, a little bit intense. I'd probably like to see leg extensions or something like that in the mix. So not bad at all. But that is it as far as weekly volume for the legs. Overall, a decent selection. I'd probably give that a B-. Definitely not the winner here, even though it's very, very decent. Now, weekly shoulder work, we have overhead press. I assume that's barbell, and we have lateral raises on day 1. Day 4, we have the interesting choice, which is Arnold's. I don't have any issue with that. And, of course, they have face pulls on the back day. So if you look at the weekly volume for shoulders, it's pretty normal, pretty conventional. I find it interesting that none of these have put in a machine press, but overall ChatGTP has a pretty solid delt day. So just looking at things, I would probably give Grok the slight advantage as far as shoulder day, and I'd give Meta the victory when it came to leg day. Real close. Overall, I wouldn't say any one of these programs was a clear winner. They all have deficiencies. They're all maybe about 80% on track, so they're not bad at all. They're reasonable programs. You could use any of these programs and see very decent results. The interesting thing I find is that it's very close in nature and in structure to the Massive Iron World, or what I would call more conventional standard hypertrophy training. This can sound a little bit crazy when you're diving into influencer fitness and you're seeing all these crazy exercise variations. But overall, all three of these programs very much fall into the classic type of design. One thing I've always prided myself on is trying to be a classic program designer, looking at the best exercises, something that is conventional over the last 70 years, something that is the most impactful, the most reasonable. And I think you can see the AI systems are kind of doing the same thing. All right, so I also asked for bulking strategy and other additional tips to maximize the coming year. Let's dive into that real quick. ChatGPT, the bulking strategy, consume 250 to 500 extra calories per day. That's reasonable. We want to, in the Massive Iron World, we want to gain about 10 pounds max over 4, maybe 5 months. It tells you to start small and adjust based on fat gain. Very, very reasonable. I don't like the generic advocacy of 1 to 1.2 grams of protein per pound of body weight. We basically have to base our protein more reasonably off of our calorie intake and probably making sure we get no lower than 150 grams a day for men and no lower than 100, 110 grams per day for women. The fat and the carbs, again, I don't like the random grams per pound of body weight. This falls apart if you're a heavier lifter or a lighter lifter. If you're 140 pounds and trying to bulk, everything is based off your body weight, which is ridiculously reductionist. Meal frequency, I have no problem with that. 4 to 6 meals per day, whatever works for you, that's fine. ChatGTP has something about intra-workout nutrition. I find that completely junk. If anything, you want to nail your pre-workout nutrition, your electrolytes 1.5 to 2 hours before a workout. And supplements, we have whey protein, creatine, beta-alanine or citrulline malate, and fish oil omega-3. All right, pretty reasonable. Nothing to worry about there. Let's see if the other systems have anything as far as bulking. All right, so here is the bulking strategy for Meta. It's a little bit more tidy. To maximize muscle growth, focus on calorie surplus, increasing calorie intake by 200 to 500 calories to support muscle growth. Yep, that's reasonable, but ChatGPT was talking about dialing in things based on rate of fat gain, so a little bit of advantage there for ChatGPT. Meta is advocating protein, carbs, and fats based on kilos of body weight. Again, a little bit misguided. Progressive overload, I wouldn't really call that a bulking strategy. I'd call that a strategy that's needed for muscle gain, but at least it has it mentioned here. And adequate rest and recovery, pretty reasonable. All right, so let's see what old Grok-a-roo has. It has some detailed information here. Bulking strategy. Aim for a calorie intake that's about 20 to 30% above maintenance. Whoa, let me think about this. If your calorie intake is about 3,000, your maintenance is 3,000, it's telling you to go upwards of like 3,900 calories per day. This sounds like potentially a recipe for a Flubblard bulk, a fat bulk here. So I would tame it a little bit, Grok. You're a little bit heavy, Grok. Macronutrients for protein, we have per kilo of body weight, but for carbs, it says moderate to high, focusing on complex carbs for sustained energy and fat. So overall, the macronutrient advantage probably goes to Grok, even though it puts you in a fat bulk. Meal timing, spread meals throughout the day to optimize nutrient absorption and energy levels. Consider a protein shake post-workout for immediate recovery. Not bad, at least Grok mentioned post-workout. I would get in some simple carbs as well, so a little bit of advantage there as far as Grok. And supplements, creatine, whey, and BCAAs. Flush those down the old toilet. So finally, I asked each of them to present 10 tips to maximize muscle gains. And I hope you guys are getting some good information here. I'm not just doing this for entertainment. We can use this as a learning experience, what to do, what not to do, how to balance programming. So let's see what tips these AI systems present to you to maximize the coming year of mass. All right, so Grok, progressive overload, duh. Form over ego, good one. Sleep, reasonable. Hydration, yep, you don't want to be dehydrated. That's a bad thing. Consistency, absolutely. Tracking progress, absolutely. You need to track so we're not guessing at plateaus, etc. Get in some rest. Cardio, that's optimal for muscle gains, but it's good for general health. Mental health, right? That's a good thing as well. Stay mentally healthy, stay motivated, and adjust as needed. Pretty reasonable stuff. Nothing specifically that gets into the super gritty details when it comes to muscle gains. So let's see what the Zuckerberg has to say. Zuckerberg has the more streamlined tips to maximize muscle gain. Set specific, measurable goals. That sounds like something straight out of influencer playbook, right? Pretty standard stuff. Warm up and cool down. Okay, you do need warm-up sets. Focus on compound exercises. Well, focus on a quality selection of exercises, but we can't argue with a focus on compounds. Stay hydrated. Get enough protein, rest, recover, seek professional guidance. Hey, get a coach like the big, hairy, ugly dude, and be consistent, be patient. Overall, not bad, a little bit different from what Grok had, but reasonable advice. Meta doesn't really care about your mental health, but neither do I as long as we're getting gains, right? And finally, ChatGPT, we have a little bit more fleshed out information. Consistency, the key to maximizing mass is long-term consistency. Show up, plan, and hit it day in and day out. Track progress, excellent. Rest and recovery, hydration. Oh, we got deload periods. Implement deloads arbitrarily every 8 to 12 weeks. You don't need to do it every 8 to 12 weeks. This is a little bit misguided. Focus on perfect form and control reps. I like that. Mechanical tension. It gets an A+ for mentioning mechanical tension. Mind-muscle connection. Prioritize the feel of the muscle rather than just moving weight. Well, that's on the right tracks. Here we have a little bit more overcomplication. Periodize volume. You don't need to periodize volume. That's something that's very program and experience specific. Adjust calories as needed. That's reasonable. Focus on weak areas. In general, you don't really know what your weak areas are until you've been training for a long, long time. Not bad advice, just kind of on that last point. So overall, what's my final say? I would say if you take all three of these and combine them into one big system, filter out kind of the borderline boring or average stuff, and kind of streamline the workouts a little bit, take the best of each of them. In general, they're just slightly off from a training standpoint, minor adjustments. But overall, this advice is probably 80%. Again, if you combine all three of them, you probably have a decent program and you have a big picture of what it takes to maintain mass. All right, guys, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what program you would prefer to run, Meta, ChatGPT, or Grok. And I appreciate you guys watching. Have a great day.